Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Lauritzen, and this is Read, Write, and Cite, the channel where I teach you how to read, write, and cite for your college classes. In this video, we're going to be talking about what is a run-on sentence. If you have ever written a paper and you've gotten it back from your teacher, and they're like, run on, run on, run on, run on, run on, and you're like, okay, what is that, and how do I fix it? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, let's define what a run-on is. I don't like this definition. It's the correct definition, but I find that how people use the term is not always as clear and cut as this definition implies. A run-on sentence, people tend to think is just a sentence where a student runs, just kind of rambles and just keeps talking. That's not what it is at all. A run-on sentence, it's a sentence with two or more independent clauses that aren't connected correctly with punctuation or grammar or a combination of the two. That's the actual definition. But that implies that the student has two correct independent clauses in the sentence to begin with. It's not always that clear cut, but I'm going to work with that definition since that's the correct definition. The reality is, if someone is having trouble with grammar and punctuation, they may have more issues than this with the sentence, but let's just assume that it is two independent clauses. We're going to talk about how to fix that. So let's do that. Okay, so here's a sample. Okay, let me break this down. The two important parts of this definition are that you have two or more independent clauses, which means you're not talking about just a simple sentence. You're talking about a compound sentence or a compound complex sentence, right? That isn't punctuated or isn't correct grammatically because it's missing like conjunction or something like that. So let's talk about how to fix it. So here is a sample sentence. The president gave a speech in front of Congress. He talked about what he wanted Congress to do. Now, you can kind of tell where the end of the sentence is, right? That's because it's two independent clauses. There is a clear break between them. And with independent clauses, sometimes it's kind of obvious because this is how we communicate, but we don't always recognize that we have to separate them. And so when you don't, and you just keep going with two or three or more independent clauses, we call it a run-on. So yeah, the result is it probably does look like you're just rambling. You're just going on, but technically this term is correctly applied when you have two groups of words, two clauses that could be independent or complete separate of each other. And so there's three basic ways to fix this problem. Okay, so the first part of our sentence, the first independent clause is the president gave a speech in front of Congress. The second one is he talked about what he wanted Congress to do. The three ways we fix it is, first of all, if you have two independent clauses and they're clean and there's nothing extra that needs to be removed, you can connect them with a semicolon. In fact, this is the correct way to use a semicolon. It's not just to wink when you're trying to make an emoticon or to create an emoji when you're texting. The correct uses of a semicolon is to separate two kind of complete thoughts within the same sentence, but to kind of imply for the reader that they go together. So instead of putting a period, you can keep the same sentence, but you've separated them visually with semicolon. A lot of people get confused and they think a semicolon and a colon are the same thing because they have the name colon in it, and that's not. They're not the same thing. Okay, so this is a correct way to do it. It's the fastest way. I find that adding semicolons sometimes confuse writers if they're new. This is the correct way to do it, but you know, if you're having trouble with this, you may not want to be using a semicolon in the first place. Okay, The second way to do it is you just make it two different sentences. You stick a period in the middle, stick it at the appropriate place where the one independent clauses end and the next one starts, and you just capitalize the second sentence to get it started correctly. It doesn't necessarily flow the same way, but it's correct. The last way is probably what you should have done to begin with, which is it turns it into a compound sentence, just like the semicolon would have. You stick a comma in between, but you also add a conjunction, an appropriate coordinating conjunction, one like and, or but whatever the case is. If there's showing contrast between the two groups, the two clauses, then maybe you have like but, or another good conjunction like because, something like that. You find the appropriate word. But these are the easiest ways to fix these sorts of problems. Again, let's just review this real fast. A run-on sentence is a sentence with two or more independent clauses without correct punctuation and or grammar to correctly connect them. And what do you do about it? Well, a run-on sentence can be corrected with semicolon, a period, or a comma and a conjunction. Like I said, it's not always clear-cut. There may be more problems present in the sentence, but in general, that's using that the clear-cut definition. Those are three ways that you can fix it. Now, which one you choose, it's really up to you and what you're trying to accomplish. Do you kind of want those ideas to go together? Do you want to separate them? And then you figure out which one works best for that. Thank you for watching this video. I know this is quick, but you know, once you understand the issue, it doesn't take long to fix this problem. So thank you for watching. Again, I'm Dr. Jacob Lauritzen. This has been Read, Write, and Cite. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below, or you can check out more from what we're producing for on our website at carpeandzen.com. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.